At the time, right now, there is also a hostage situation happening at the Bataclan Concert Hall in Paris. The Associated Press says at least 15 people are reported dead there. As many as 100 hostages are being held there. That is still an ongoing situation. Another incident earlier this evening in Paris, a shootout at a restaurant where BFM television reporting several people also dead there. Again, it is unclear if all of these events are related or could be part of a terrorist-related attack. Here in New York, the NYPD says it is watching the situation very, very closely. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security is also monitoring that, but says right now there is no known credible threat against the United States. Again, the Associated Press reporting at least 35 people dead at this point. We will continue to monitor this story and bring you more information as it becomes available.
Okay, Valerie Castro in our newsroom. No known credible threat. Marcia Kramer, when we hear that, that's in one sense it's somewhat comforting, but in another, you know, most of these threats don't happen with a telegraphing kind of, you know, here we come. So what is that? What is one to make of that when we hear that?
Well, what the NYPD does in a situation like this, they have a very massive internet and process of evaluating threats. And so what they do is they will go into their vast intelligence network to see if there have been any chatter on the internet that would indicate some connection. Here, you know, a lot of times we have lone wolves or people who get involved in it, to see if any of those people are talking about the attack in Paris, to get any clues that they can glean that might be helpful to the investigators in Paris in figuring out what's happening. You know, we have a really amazing anti-terror unit here in New York, and they have many, many resources. But in terms of what the NYPD is doing here, as Valerie Castro said, they're meeting, they're evaluating the information they're getting out of Paris, but at the same time, they're not taking anything for granted. They will be protecting the French consulate. They will decide whether they need to elevate what they're doing to protect various landmarks. You know, a lot of times what the NYPD says, it's not what you see, it's what you don't see. And there will be probably undercover people who would be doing some protection as well. But I think also because the NYPD has a good relationship with French intelligence, anything that they would glean from their vast intelligence network, they would be sharing with the French police and hopefully providing some assistance if that is necessary.
And that includes listening to phone conversations as well, right?
The NYPD developed a huge anti-terror and intelligence gathering operation. There's something like 1,000 people who do that every day, 24/7. So they will be going back, seeing if there's been anything that would hint at anything that they heard or saw in chatter in different chat rooms. They go on all over the world to see what's going on. So it's possible they may have picked something up, and it's also possible that people here who might have some connection to whatever went on are talking about it either by phone or on the internet.
We should point out we're awaiting President Obama's remarks in probably less than a minute or so here, so we'll talk until then. So when you hear that number, 1,000 officers on this every day, Marcia, that gives you comfort, right?
It gives me a lot of comfort, and I will point out to you that this same unit was able to thwart over a dozen terrorist attacks here in New York, real terrorist attacks, and to prevent them from happening over the last, since 9/11.
Okay, Marcia, thank you so much. You can